We're honored to have with us today the most progressive Reverend in the city of Detroit, probably in the country. He's the pastor of the church, Central Methodist, right across the street, the church where our food is being made every night for this tent city, and without whose assistance, this tent city would never have happened. He lent an office when we formed the Moratorium Now Coalition to fight the plant closings, to fight the foreclosures. He gave us an office in that church. So I'd like to introduce Reverend Ed Rowe. We're so honored and pleased to have him with us.
You want to know where all the other preachers from the city? He know I'm that cool with him. He said the same thing. Where's all the other preachers at?
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Yeah, that's right. One of the things we need to say anytime a media sticks a microphone is that the mosques and the synagogues and the churches betray their own scripture by not standing with the workers right now. There isn't one holy book, Buddhist or Hindu or Baha'u'llah or whatever it is, that doesn't say the people who are being marginalized and abused and oppressed come first. And if we're ever going to stand with workers, it has to be now. Not by and by in the sky when we die, but here and now. When? Here and now. So I wanted to say a little bit about what's been spoken about unions fighting each other. Unions are fighting each other right here, right now. That is, Unite is trying to kill HERE. There's people robbing each other. The Service Employees Union is robbing somebody else's workers in the airport. There's all kinds of crazy union eating union, and the enemy loves it. We need to not only not fight unions in Mexico, we need to stop fighting each other right here in Detroit. Now, the other thing I would say is that the hero worship for our president has to stop. I've been in Detroit since I was 4 months old, but for several years when I was in Chicago, I was an organizer on the south side of Chicago too. Organizers on the south side of Chicago know better than to get so isolated that they're not talking to the workers anymore. He may have talked to steel workers when he was in Chicago, but he's not talking to steel workers today. He's talking to Wall Street today. The Automobile Task Force is dead wrong. And they represent Wall Street, they don't represent us. And he's allowing them to tell him what we ought to do to save this economy. Closing 16 plants and allowing the Automobile Task Force to bless that is total brain-dead economics. All of the communities that are going to be destroyed, that aren't already destroyed as a result of that decision, does not make any sense. Why should we trust Wall Street to talk about economics when Wall Street got us in this horrible mess we're in right now? Why would you go to the same people that destroyed the workers? Now, you know, my father worked for Chrysler. He was a boiler operator. He got up every morning to work in the midnight shift at Chrysler. He did it not just to put food on our table. He did it to send his children and his grandchildren to have a better life than he ever had before. That was the guts. Now he and everybody like him that doesn't know a derivative from an arc welder, that had nothing to do with packaging loans and sending them around the country so you can't even find your mortgage today, had nothing to do with what's causing the 36th District Court to have people losing their houses lined out the door, turning, as one lawyer told us yesterday, a court into a foreclosure court. Hundreds of people every day losing their houses that had nothing to do with causing this economic disaster. We have to have a moratorium on foreclosures. We have a governor who has nothing to lose. She's not not running for office again. She just needs the courage to use the same laws that we used in 1930 to make sure that the banks have to come to the table. The banks will not come to the table, and I didn't even know this till Jerry's partner told us yesterday, because they're getting paid to destroy these houses. And they have insurance once the houses are destroyed. And that is a sin. And that we own the banks, and we can't even get the banks to bargain with us. The only thing that will bring the banks to the table is a moratorium on foreclosures. If they can't get rid of these houses, if they have to bargain with us, if they can't make money, they will come to the table. A moratorium now. And it shouldn't just be the governor. Our president, that most of us worked our tail off to elect, ought to be calling a national moratorium on foreclosures. Moratorium now. Moratorium now. Moratorium now. Moratorium now. Now there's one other thing I need to say. If you're going to a church or synagogue or mosque that isn't out here, then you need to get up in the announcement period the next time you have a service and ask people if they're going to stand with the workers. And if they're not going to stand with the workers, what in the hell are you doing there? I don't get it. I don't get why you put your money in the plate. I don't get why you go to all the potlucks. I don't get why you support institutions that don't support you. I want you to think about going to the board of your church, synagogue, mosque, and ask them to support moratorium now. And if they don't, I want you to find a house that will. The religious leaders either need to be in the street, or in my mind, they're not religious leaders. So I want to know how many people will do that for me. I want you to speak to your priest, your rabbi, your imam, the leaders of the church board. You want a spot on the church board meeting at the first opportunity. You want to call them to account for what's going on with your brothers and sisters. And if they won't come on board, find somebody that will. No longer support people who won't support you. And at the same time, you need to call them to support people who are asking for a moratorium now. It's the only way we're going to save people's houses. The folks, like you said, that are losing their jobs today will lose their house tomorrow. And we don't have enough lawyers like Jerry here to protect them. We need a moratorium now. One more time. Moratorium. 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 Thank you.